Hey everybody, it's Greg again. It's another edition of Unbreakable the podcast. It is Monday, November 24th. Well, to say I'm disappointed is an understatement. That sucked. Didn't that suck yesterday? That really sucked. Oh my God. Eagles up 21 points. Below it, they set all kinds of records yesterday. First of all, in their long and storied history, the Eagles have only blown a 21-point lead four times in their history. Last time they did it was the first game that Andy Reid, that old bossa, coached the Eagles. So, that's been a long time ago. I mean, this doesn't happen every day, especially to your rival, the Cowboys. Oh, I wanted to puke. Second, Cowboys tied their record for their biggest comeback in franchise history. 21 friggin' points. Thank you. Anyway, there's all kinds of records. You know what? But anyway, Eagles, how do you do that? How do you blow the 21-point lead in Dallas? They look so good, especially that first quarter. So good. Then you kind of see it kind of slipping on. Dallas scored that touchdown before halftime. It gave them a little hope. And the Eagles came out second half. They had the ball to start the second half. Instead of taking it down there and just score, even a field goal. You added on. It's like baseball. You're ahead 8-0 in baseball. You keep adding on, tacking on, tacking on. Instead, it's slipping away and slipping away. I know the Eagles can't run the ball anymore. They cannot run the ball anymore. But that really cost the Eagles yesterday because at least if you try to run the ball, the clock winds down. That's less time Dallas has to catch up, right? So the Eagles are throwing. When you have an incompletion, it stops the clock. I don't know what's wrong with the Eagles' run game. Well, number one, their offensive line is not as good as it was last year. No way near as good. I mean, some of these guys are hurt. Look at Lane Johnson's out, right? Guys are getting older. And the guys that they have plugging in, they're okay, but they're not top-notch guys. Steen, Fred Johnson. There's a reason why these guys are like journeymen. So they're just not as good. This is a perfect example of why you have to have a solid offensive line and a solid defensive line to win in football. Because I don't have to pontificate to you. You know this. It's a sexy thing. Sexy to have an elite wide receiver, a running back who goes for 2,000 yards, a quarterback who throws for 4,000 yards. That is great. But if you don't have an offensive line to protect you, if you don't have an offensive line to open up the holes for you, it doesn't matter. So that's where I think Howie Roseman, as great as he is, Eagles GM, kind of missed the boat at the trade deadline because, yes, he helped with the defensive line. He helped with the secondary, although we saw the secondary get exposed yesterday. We'll talk about that. But he did not help the offensive line. And now we're seeing that they don't have enough depth in that line. Thank God it looks like Lane Johnson's going to be back sooner than later. He doesn't need surgery for that sprained foot. Liz Frank disorder, whatever the hell you call it. But The offensive line just isn't good enough. So that's one reason. The other reason is Saquon Barkley just doesn't look the same. But you couldn't expect him to have another 2,000-yard uh, season. You knew he was going to regress. Because how many people, like Kyle Schwarber, I'm all for the Phillies signing, he signed Kyle Schwarber. But do you really think he's going to have another season where he hits 56 freaking home runs? Do you really think so? I don't think so. It'd be a big surprise to me. So Schwarber could hit like 47 and have a great year next year. But it's not going to be 56 because those kind of seasons only happen once in a lifetime. So for Saquon Barkley, we knew he wasn't going to have as good of a year as he had last year. We knew it. But we didn't think he was going to suck. I don't know. It just doesn't look like he's hitting the holes hard enough. You could say offensive line, but why is it that Tank Bigsby is in the game and he's plowing right through the middle there for 8 yards at a clip? Why is that? Is it because the offensive line is opening holes for Tank and not for Saquon? I think the holes are there. Saquon's just not hitting hard enough. Why not? Maybe he's slowing down. You know, the wear and tear of last season. It was a long season. You go to the Super Bowl, you win the Super Bowl. It's a long season. Maybe he's beat up. Maybe teams have figured out how to defend him. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe he's just not hungry enough. Maybe too much of these, commercials and hitting the rubber chicken circuit, all this acclaim. Yeah. You get all this glory after winning the Super Bowl and having a year like he did. And maybe you become a little fat and sassy, I'm not one to say he didn't work hard enough during the off season. Maybe he didn't have that much of an off season because by the time the season ended, but before you know it, the season is starting again, training camp, right? But maybe the man's tired. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he needs a nap. Take a nap, Saquon. I don't know, but there's a reason why he's not as good as he was last year. So Jalen Hurts, he was okay yesterday. He was okay. I mean, he hit a lot of long passes. That Devontae Smith is amazing. So many catches he made. AJ Brown came alive and was happy. Caught a touchdown pass. He had 6, 8 catches altogether. Yeah. He did his part. Dallas Goedert, Hurts finally started finding him toward the end of the game. Barkley caught a few good passes. So, I don't know. Let's talk about the offensive coordinator. Okay, do we have to? Kevin Petula, or whatever the hell his name is. People can blame him all they want. Players still have to go out and perform. But I will say, he became very conservative after getting a 20-0. The plays were very vanilla. And there's no imagination there. When's the last time you saw the Eagles use a trick play? All these other teams are doing trick plays against us. When's the last time we used a trick play? You're up 21-0. Yes, you're having trouble running the ball, but you try, right? How many carries did Saquon get anyway last year? 10? That's not enough. I mean, you could give him 20 carries. Maybe 19 of those carries he might suck, but there's one he might break for 70, right? You just don't know. So, you know what? Everybody's screaming, get rid of Kevin Petula. And I kind of agree. Something has to happen. Something has to change because this Eagles offense, we saw their potential. We saw what they could do in the first quarter, the first part of that game yesterday. We saw that they do have the weapons. They could do it. How they marched down the field against Dallas. They took command. So why did they stop? I don't know. I really do think the play caller became too conservative. When you have a team like that, especially the hated Cowboys, now I'm getting pissed. The hated Cowboys, you have them, the dreaded Cowboys in Dallas, which is a hard place to win anyway, and you have them down 21-0. That's the time you have to step on their neck and you have to say, you're going down. You're going to lose today 52-6 or something, right? That's the time that you have to put the hand in them. Don't give them any hope to come back and just crush them. Crush them. Eagles just don't look like they have that killer instinct. Is it because they're fat and sassy after winning the Super Bowl? I don't know. You tell me. Why is it that the other games shoot? Have you seen Eagles score like 38 points like they used to and crush teams? No. Seems like every game is like you're pulling teeth. Yeah. Where's the old Eagle fight? Where's the old Eagle? You go out and crush them 42-0, right? That's not happening anymore. I don't know whether it's coaching, the players are tired, they're just not as motivated. Well, you know what? We already won the Super Bowl. If we beat Dallas, okay, good. If not, life will go. Okay, yeah. But anyway, so, why doesn't Nick Sirianni take over playing calls or calling plays? Playing calls? The hell am I talking about? The guy who coaches the Lions, Dan Campbell. I mean, the Lions were no bowl of cherries yesterday either. They just about squeaked out a victory at home over the lowly Giants. But Dan Campbell, the head coach, he calls his own plays now. He took that away from his offensive coordinator because he didn't trust him. And, Dan Campbell, say what you want about him. He takes a lot of risks. Maybe he doesn't call great plays all the time. But at least he's doing it. What is Nick Sirianni doing other than stalking up and down the sidelines, brooding, and yelling at the officials? That's all he does. What is he doing? Maybe, just maybe, keep Kevin Patel as your offensive coordinator because he seems like he's okay when he scripts out the plays. First quarter, Eagles had that all scripted out, and they were doing good. Kevin Patola doesn't make any adjustments. Look at halftime. Why does this team come out? They did the same thing in Tampa Bay. They had a great first half, and then they sucked in the second half. Why is that? What happens to this team at halftime? They're in there using the urinals or something, and something happens at halftime. I think it's lack of adjustments. The other team adjusts. The Eagles don't adjust. That's the thing. And whose fault is it? Is that the coaches? They're not keeping up with what's going on. They're not readjusting. In the scheme of things, Eagles are still in first place in NFC East. They're still going to win the division. You did give the Cowboys some light. They are already 5-5-1, but you give them a spark of hope to make the playoffs, right? I mean, you really could have not only crushed them yesterday, but put them out of their misery as far as going into the postseason. So, in the grand scheme of things, yes, it's a loss. Okay, the Eagles are still 8-3. But let's look at the bigger picture, okay? The Rams won last night. Those Rams look good, don't they? Matthew Stafford is going to be the MVP. Devontae Adams is catching TD passes like crazy. Puka Nacua is great. The tight ends, the running game, good defense. The Rams have it all. Great coach. Now the Rams are ahead in the NFC. Why is that important? Because if it ends up that the Rams get the #1 seed in the playoff, not only do they have the first week off, they get the rest, but the road to the Super Bowl runs through LA. It doesn't run through Philadelphia. I mean, the Eagles might have a home game or two at home where they can take advantage of the weather, the home crowd. But if they play in the NFC Championship game against the Rams, right now, as we speak, the Rams would have home field advantage. Now, not that the Eagles can't win out in LA in that dome stadium. They could. But you have such an advantage here in Philadelphia, especially in January if it is cold and windy and if it's snowing. You have a big advantage. So, well, hey, you have a game like that in hand against a division rival. Dallas is not good. They're not good. They have some good players. George Pickens played a hell of a game. CeeDee Lamb was dropping balls all around. Dak Prescott, he's all right. He's okay. But you got a team like that whose defense sucks, and you only scored 21 points, and you scored 0 points in the second half. So I don't blame the defense. Yeah, the defense needed to make some stops there, but the defense did come up late in the game after the Cowboys got fumbled and the Eagles stopped them in the red zone. 4th down, they stopped him. And what the hell is this guy, the punt returner? What's his name? Gibson? Why is he even trying to catch the ball near the goal line? You let the ball, everybody knows, even a monkey knows. You let the ball hit, drop, and go into the end zone. You don't field the damn ball. He does it, and then he tries to run and he fumbles. Luckily, the Eagles got out of that jam. Dallas recovered, but the Eagles held the fort. But where is Britton Covey? He never really ran back a punt, but at least he could catch a punt, and at least he has the common sense to know when to catch a punt and when not to catch a punt. I mean, he's on the practice squad. What good does that do? Bring him up instead of these jackasses that you're bringing in from out of state. You're bringing in other people's trash. And Gibson, who the hell heard of this guy? So, I don't know. Sometimes I think Howie Roseman is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Other times I'm thinking, what the hell is he doing, right? Penalties. Said another more. 14 penalties. The most penalties the Eagles have had since Nick Sirianni's first game. The first game he ever coached with the Philadelphia Eagles. 14. So what is that? Is that a sign of an undisciplined team? Is that a sign of an unfocused team? Again, I bring up the point. Are they hungry enough? Do they want it bad enough? I don't know. Some of these penalties are stupid. Like they throw the ball to Devontae Smith. He gets down to like Dallas's 15-yard line. Penalty call back. Cam Jurgens, the jerk, the center, he's down the field too far. I mean, things like that. You gotta stop and think. These guys don't have their minds in the game. They're not focusing. But 14 penalties is just ridiculous. You can't do that and expect to beat anyone, let alone the freaking Cowboys. I don't know. The bad thing about it is the Eagles only have 5 days to try to rectify all this problem because it's a short week. They're playing on Black Friday against the Chicago Bears, who happen to be 8-3 as well. So it is a short week for people to heal, rest, and everything's going to be discombobulated this week. And the Eagles are home, thank God, but the practice schedule is going to be different. Of course, Thursday's Thanksgiving. It's going to be different. It's going to be a challenge. Now, could the Eagles come up Friday, come up big at home and stomp on the Bears? Yes, they could. But until then, they really got to sit down and think, what are we doing here, especially on offense? So let's hope that they figure it out. You know, my heart kicked in. But, you know, this team definitely has flaws. Could they go to the Super Bowl? Still, yeah, they could. You know, the hot team going into the playoffs usually has success. And you can't be doing and making stupid mistake with 14 penalties and expect to get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl because it's not going to happen. So could they still get there? Yes, definitely. Although the competition is stiff in the NFC. I mean, look at the NFC North. You've got the Bears, who are coming in Friday, surprisingly the #1 team. And you got the Minnesota Vikings, but they're slacking off because they have J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback, who sucks. But the Lions, even though they squeaked out a win yesterday, the Lions are tough. The Packers are tough. Yes, we beat those teams earlier in the season. But that was earlier in the season. NFC West, I mean, the Rams look like a juggernaut. The Seahawks are dangerous. The 49ers might squeeze in. NFC South, who cares? It's a shame. Somebody has to win that damn division. And nobody really wants to win. Could it be the measly, lowly Carolina Panthers are going to win that division and get into the freaking playoffs? So anyway, Eagles still have time to get it together and make a run down the stretch. Hopefully get the #1 bye and go from there. After #2 to #2, what are you going to do? If it comes down to it and you need to win a championship in LA, you go and you play in LA and for the rights to go to the Super Bowl. What else can I say? Before I leave, Phillies not doing a damn thing. What the hell are they doing? They're just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. Meanwhile, other teams are doing stuff. The Braves are notorious with getting their work done early and then resting the rest of the way. That's the way they do things. Well, you know, and the Phillies, I just hope they start, you know, they sign Kyle Schwarber. I think they're still going to sign Schwarber. I think they're still going to sign Real Muto. Forget all those rumors out there you see on the internet about JT going elsewhere. I don't think so. I think the Phillies are going to make him the best offer. And I think he's going to come back. I really do. So, you know, they need to start making some moves. But as we said, the general manager meetings don't start until around the first week of December. So by then we'll start seeing some action occurring on the baseball diamond. Sixers, who cares? Yeah, who cares? They lose again to Miami. I mean, just when this team seems to be on a roll, they have a loss like yesterday. Joel Embiid, the China doll, is still out. Thank God for Tyrese Maxey, huh? Flyers are doing good. That's about it. Times are kind of tough around here. Times are kind of tough. Whenever the Eagles lose a big game, yeah, times are tough. So they need to get their act together by Friday. Go out there, beat the Bears. It's supposed to be windy and cold on Friday. Cold as hell. Go out there and kick their butts. That's what you need to do. All these accolades, MVP, most this, most that. If deserving, then it'll fall into place, right? Don't worry about it. Focus on beating the Chicago Bears on Friday. That's the only thing that should matter. So, you know, so we'll see. As the week goes on, I'll be back on short week, right? Because we have, 3 games on Thanksgiving including Detroit and Green Bay. What a game that's going to be. Early. Yeah, when I was a kid, we usually have Thanksgiving dinner early, like around 12 o'clock, 12:30, because then you have the rest of the day to just sleep, chill out, watch football on TV, or go out, go to a movie. So 3 games on Thanksgiving, and then a game on Friday, Eagles Bears, and then we're back to the Sunday card game. So we'll see what happens next week, but keep the faith, keep the faith. Hopefully, the Eagles will learn from this loss and bounce back against Chicago and put that out of their misery. So there you go. Okay, everyone. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Sorry about the rant, but I'm sure you're upset too. If you're a Philadelphia sports fan like me, if you're an Eagles fan like me, you can't be happy today. Losing to your rival Dallas Cowboys and blowing such a big lead. I feel sorry for a lot of people out there who are Eagles fans who made bets with maybe coworkers or something. Then you got to listen to the coworkers crow for the next year or so until they play again. Oh, the Cowboys beat the Eagles. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. When the Eagles lose a game like they did yesterday, do they realize the significance of it to the fans? The fans are the ones who are lamenting because the fans have to take it home with them. They have to explain what happened to their loved ones. They have to say to the coworkers, well, they have to take that grief. Well, do me a favor, don't jump off a bridge. Everything will be okay. We've been down before. We'll be down again, but hopefully in between those times, we'll have a lot of good. Thanksgiving is this week. There's a lot of good. I just can't think of anything else. All right, everybody. Take care. Peace and love. Thanks for watching. And we'll talk again soon. Sometime this week, we'll get ready for that big Eagles Bears game on Friday. And that's it for today. See you guys. Take care. Bye.